Hello, and welcome to the Innova Conversation. I'm Steve Waltz.
And I'm Jeff Pergelski.
And Jeff, we have our first repeat guest that's not a Innova employee.
Wow. And who do we have with us today, Steve?
Well, was very surprised that they actually did want to come back. So we must have been too nice to them last time. But we have Nirav Shah with us. Nirav, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome back. And so I assume if we've got another super amazing, intelligent guest, that Nirav is here to speak about something in particular. Nirav, do you want to tell us? Maybe, Steve, we should quiz him and ask him what he thinks he wants to talk about.
Oh, sure. I think that's a good start.
There you go.
All right, Nirav.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about today on today's episode?
Yeah, I think I'm going to talk about the football games that happened this past weekend.
Yeah. We'll talk about our Bears, Nirav.
I know.
Not going well.
Oh, not going well.
Yeah, Jeff's laughing. He's a happy Packer fan.
There he is.
This week. 2 weeks ago, it was a joke. Okay, yeah. So as much as Steve and I want to talk about football, yes, actually, sounds like you are on board there too. You come to us, you come back to us from 2 Increase, where you are. I think a lot of our customers have got to know 2 Increase through their food solution that we are heavily invested in and have lots of customers on. But you come from a different side of 2 Increase. What side of the business are you?
Yeah, so I like to say it's like a coin, right? We have the head and tails. So you've already have introduction to our food side, and you have many successful installations in that industry. I come from the other side, the tail side of the coin, which is our industrial equipment manufacturing solution, which we also are calling it as recently our advanced jobs suite. So that is basically an extension of jobs in standard Business Central NAV that allows make to order, configure to order, engineer to order companies basically manage their discrete manufacturing more efficiently, accurately, and concisely done, so you could deliver to the customer on time. So that's a whole nother vertical that we offer outside of food that many users are not aware of.
Awesome. Okay. Well, so understanding that it is the discrete manufacturing jobs. What kind of businesses or organizations are a good fit for you, assuming that maybe that the majority of our listeners are people that are already running NAV or Business Central. So at what point, what are sort of some of the pain points when you start to think of you need, beyond the basic functionality in Microsoft's version of the software? When does it start to make sense to look at your solution?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So, we see from our side a positive impact for those customers that implement our solution that are directly in the line of engineer to order, ETO, or in other words, project-based manufacturers. So that could be anything referred to custom manufacturing, right? One-offs. They're very heavy engineering driven. That come from aerospace. That could come from the automotive industry. It could be the energy utility sector. Could be commercial consumer packaging sector. Could be professional services as well could use our solution from the standpoint of logging, creating jobs and tracking billable time and so on like that using the job solution. So it's those customers. A sweet spot is where they have a deep and unique bill of material, purchasing of materials directly tied to a project. They are very heavily interested in project costing, cost accounting, right? Making sure that they are making money on the project or job beginning to end. There might be a low unit volume of production. Again, this is customer order driven, make to order customers. They do MRP by projects. There might be some installation directly on the project site itself. Design is a very integral piece of production, possibly, right? And there might be many different engineering changes that happen throughout the life cycle of a job. And finally, what I like to also mention, who's a perfect fit or the sweet spot, if you will, is those companies that have the capability to do progress billing by milestones and completion dates and things like that. So that's where our sweet spot is, where you need to take the standard job, you need to take the standard project functionality to the next level and be able to manage all these moving pieces in a very fluid environment.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right, Steve, I'm ready for you to ask a question. Oh, wait, okay. Steve's already checking on the Bears lineup for this.
No, so, Rob, that's very cool because, actually I had a call probably about a month ago where they were doing jobs, basically project management in jobs, but it wasn't manufacturing, but they were really trying to get a hold of their costs. It was more distribution, service management type of things. Would that solution fit for those folks too?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Because that requirement there is actual cost of the project. You want to create the maximum efficiency in that project oriented environment, what it seems like to me. So, to be able to manage each particular planning line effectively, knowing exactly what the actual cost to budget is, if that budget has changed over time, is a critical component.
So for the customers that are using jobs now, and they're kind of working their projects through that, how seamless is it for them to go to your solution?
Yeah, there's not a lot of different offerings now, right? And unlike the old NAV days where you're just on premise, basically, well, now you have the public cloud, and then you also have the private cloud, right? And then you have the traditional, server installation at the site, and you load the software. So any one of those environments or solution could be retrofitted within, and could start using our solution right out of the box. So there might be a little bit of obviously data mapping exercise. Tables may be a little different when it comes to job site, only due to our solution, but not anything that would require too much effort to make sure that the database, our solution, could fit their current database.
Well, cool. So if they went to AppSource, downloaded your product, or wanted to go to your product, I mean, is there, as far as an ISV, how would they basically do the setups and the training? Is that something we would do as a partner, something you would do, or what would you tell our listeners?
Yeah, we could go either way. We could, we are a partner-enabled business, obviously, and we prefer partners to do installation, learn the solution, and also do the services part. But if we need to step in and do it, we have the resources and the talent and internally to do that as well. So, but initially, obviously, if you have the first implementation, first installation, that's where we would be holding the partner's hand, or educating the partner through the process, educating the customer through the process, and then educating the customer and partner on how to properly install and implement the solution, following best implementation practices for our different modules.
Well, that's good to hear. And is it a long process, or if they came to us and we're talking to them and they decided your solution is the way to go? I mean, what's a typical installation look like time-wise and effort?
Yeah, so I like to break out our implementation, and usually customers fall within these three buckets. You have maybe just the assembly type of a customer. They only do assembly orders, right? They don't touch any of the core manufacturing. They don't have production BOMs or production routings or anything like that. They have assembly BOMs, but they still need to use jobs, right? So that's a much smaller implementation, I would say. So that's like our first tier, right? There, which could be less than 40 hours practically to go ahead and implement that. And then you have the middle tier, what I call light manufacturing, right? Light manufacturing is where you are doing a little bit of, you have production bill of materials, production routings, but everything is backflushed, right? And your focus there is maybe more on engineering time than the production time, maybe because that's the environment that's this type of solution is operating within. So that less than, I would say that is less than probably 60 to 80 possibly hours. And then you have the full manufacturer. The full manufacturer is where they're doing make to order bill of, make to order production orders. Basically, they have, they do pre-releases of items when items get imported from the PLM system. They do subcontracting. They do, full pegging of inventory back to jobs, so on and so forth. So that I kind of put right within the, I'd probably say 90 to 120 hour range of implementation to make sure that is up and going correctly and properly. And that's full end-to-end implementation support. That's from, discovery, research and analysis to, training to data conversion and pilot testing, if you will, the conference room pilot, user acceptance testing, and then that's also cutover and deployment and 3-4 days go live support. So that's a full end-to-end solution in terms of, or what we kind of expect, and where customers generally fit into these three categories of when they implement our solution.
Well, I think that's good to hear, because sometimes you get one size fits all solution, and I think by having those three offerings, you're better able to build the box around the customer versus trying to stick them in a box. So I think that's really good to hear. So is there any customers that you maybe have had some success with recently that you'd want to share?
Yeah. We have a really big implementation that we did out in Beaubois. It's Canada. They have their cabinet manufacturer, custom cabinetry manufacturers for all different type of usage, if you will, different office environments. So they use our solution very heavily. We have recently done a implementation on a custom window and door manufacturer for commercial buildings. They're using our solution. We have another implementation going on down south where they are doing, and these guys are full manufacturing. It's a electric energy utility company that uses our solution for creating mobile transformers or mobile energy transformers, I guess what they call them, or capacitors that go out to different emergency sites to provide power to different areas where there's floods or hurricanes or things like that. So we have many different uses of our solution and how companies are using our solution right now.
Oh yeah, you can get in. We have a lot of complex customers when it comes to manufacturing.
Yeah,
and that's good to hear. So I guess, what other solutions would your current offering, your advanced job suites, kind of compared to that people might be more familiar with?
Yeah, so very good question. Some people that we see in the marketplace that we know of. So for cost control, Job Manager, there's one. There's another called Progressus. They're geared towards professional services, and they're kind of an advanced jobs solution as well. But we are all different in a unique way. Our solution, we feel, has a lot of depth. It's basically proven over the years. We have over 400 implementations of our IEM solution, industrial equipment manufacturing solutions. That's basically the extension of jobs. So we have a lot of maturity in the solution, based on the number of years it's been out in the market and implemented, across all the different industries. So, what you're getting is, best industry practice, type of solution that has added value in almost every implementation that it's installed in. So, we're proud of that. We know when we come to the table with our solution that, it's very deep and could really fit any different type of make to order environment.
Well, from our viewpoint, well, because we do a lot of work with you on the food industry, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that can be very complicated. You got catch weights, you got lot tracking, you got, just, so many packages inside of different packages, right?
Yep.
And putting it all together. Do you feel that gives you, I don't know about an advantage, but more expertise in bringing the solution?
Yeah, well, that allows us to kind of make sure we know, make sure we know the market, right? And make sure are we making sure what we're providing to the market is actually value add, right? We get a lot of requests like any software company does. Hey, we have this one, this enhancement request. Can you put it into the standard product? Well, we really take a strong look at it. We have a full committee behind us that says, okay, with this new feature request, like, will other customers benefit from this, or is it just a one-off, right? And we really kind of go through a full kind of almost a war room environment. How can we make sure that our existing customers and future customers will use this enhancement, right? We don't want to, have, in one table, 50 different or 100 different flags for a customer to select or understand how to use them. It just makes the product more confusing. We make our solution, we want to make sure it's intuitive, easy to use, easy to implement, but provide that value, right? To say, it's giving me exactly what I need. It's giving me the exact reporting that I need on the other end to grow my business at the end of the day. So, we learned a lot of that from the food side and the IEM side over all the implementations we've done overseas. So, that's the expertise and type of value we're trying to also spread here in the U.S. and Canada market with our advanced job suite.
Very cool. Jeff, any other questions come off the top of your head?
I guess you touched on a little bit how you look at, making decisions from the customer point of view, like that, the customer making requests of additional functionality adds to it. But like from the long range vision of, the life cycle of your product, do you have stuff that you're looking at, stuff either personally you want added to the solution, or things that exciting stuff that maybe you can't fully disclose now, but stuff that's coming out in the next version of it? And I guess because it exists on AppSource, how often does it get updated?
Yeah, so a lot of good questions there. So kind of unpacking that a little bit. So in terms of new functionality and what I would like to see in our solution, obviously with the Power BI now as part of the Power Platform and all that stuff, is a lot more functionality around that. I'm a graphical person. I love to see charts. I love to see kind of see data moving. A lot of AI, and that's things that we're working with Microsoft as Microsoft is releasing some of that stuff on different platforms. We are also releasing some of that into in our solutions as we develop it. So that's a lot more that I want to see, and we're kind of pressing the gas there to really help move that initiative along. In terms of our updates and things like that we are doing with Microsoft, we follow the same update pattern that Microsoft has. So if Microsoft, they just recently released 17, right? We are updated to 17 as well now. So depending on the change, right, Microsoft will come out with different versions probably every two, 3 months, right? Because they had a version, I think it was 16, then it was 16.4, then they went to 16.5. So I think what we did, we went to 16 and then 16.4. There wasn't much change there except some of the base stuff. So then we just went directly to 16.5. So we look at, what makes sense in terms of, what type of updates we do. But if any customer is on any version, that will be updated, right? So we just had but based on our customer base, we didn't have anybody on 16.4, so we didn't have to really do that. But we have to, obviously keep some sort of integrity with Microsoft there. So as they are coming up with the new update on the BC side, we have to make sure we match it. And also look at our customer base to make sure we have their environment fully upgraded as well.
Awesome. One last question. So what version, how far back do you go with your solution?
Yeah, again, we follow Microsoft there, right? We offer our solution all the way back up to 2009, right? C-side. We could do that. The classic client. But obviously, right? No one's going to go ahead and implement that nowadays, right? I think Microsoft just went ahead or it's been a while, but 2013 is no longer, R2 is no longer supported, right? I think now they're talking about 2015, right? Also. Being close to not supported, right? So we kind of follow that pattern that Microsoft sets. So once they stop the cumulative updates on a certain solution, we also stop, right? And just kind of focus on the future updates that they're doing on the newer versions coming up. So we generally try to follow that. I think like most other ISVs, but if there's a customer of ours that is on an older version, we make every effort to make sure that their environment's fully stable, and that there's no issues with them transacting in that older environment. So, but sometimes the customer is forced to upgrade because the hardware doesn't work anymore with the newer versions, right? So that gets the customer to upgrade and then get on the latest versions, which is obviously a good thing because there's a lot of new functionality out there in the newer versions. So we follow Microsoft's lead on that and what they what they're providing support for.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Well, that's really good stuff. And, I know we kind of talked about a little bit. So the Microsoft roadmap and, one of the things that we do at Innovia and our account managers try to do a good job is well, first off, Microsoft has, well, I think if I'm not following them too closely, they're still one of the fifth largest company in the world, if not the top as far as market cap. Mm-hmm. Yep. So they have these things called resources and dollars, right? And, it seems like they're moving so fast that it can be a challenge sometimes for the ISVs, because some of the ISVs that we have dealt with over the years are less than 10 people, right? Mm-hmm. So it seems to me when you go into AppSource, there's so many of them out there, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch, yeah.
But so it sounds like you're aligned with the Microsoft roadmap and the stack. You talked about Power BI. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add about how you're aligned with the road with AppSource or with the roadmap.
Yeah. So with AppSource, we're fully we're considered what we have. Our app is a mega app, so we're part of Microsoft's premier. It's a selective group of ISVs called the Embed program, where they've given us direct extension points to create our apps in. So they know that our solution is, once it has to be implemented first, usually, but before the solution. So we are, aligned with Microsoft as they're coming out with maybe changes to their base solution. We understand what that is and make sure that our solutions are compatible to those changes upfront before we release any updates and things like that. So we, along with their their AI stuff that Microsoft is doing, along with Power BI and all that, we work with them and sync up. Is there anything we can make sure? Is there synergies there that our Power BI reports could be embedded directly into the base system, or could there be anything like where any flows that we're creating could easily talk to any of our IEM stuff. So so it's a strategic partnership. We're part of Microsoft's ISV Accelerator program, which is only 16 ISVs in the world that are part of the program. So we're invited to Redmond, probably twice a year actually to kind of learn the latest and greatest. So make sure we're prepared.
Oh, very cool. I know Jeff's been to Redmond. I can spell it. Well, wait a second. Is that an O or A? Anyway.
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility.
Nice. Well, I mean, you're 16 ISVs getting that status. That's great to hear. And, Nirav, one of the things I think is really cool too is I know we were just kind of chatting earlier that you presented at one of the local user groups in Chicago.
Yeah, correct.
Your solution. And I think that's really neat getting out there to the users, right? So, and I know you're involved with the other, heavily involved with the user groups and so forth. But I also wanted to ask you, how can our listeners get in contact with you? First off, they can reach out to their account manager. We're more than happy to connect you with Nirav. Yeah. But Nirav, if you want to tell them how to get a hold of you, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. We prefer obviously you guys go through Innovia folks. We know them very well. and they could get us engaged to work with any customers that you guys have, and understand requirements and see how we would be a good fit in your long-term picture for your solution and your business. But otherwise, you can definitely get a hold of me through if you go to 2-increase.com. You'll find me as one of the IAM experts on our webpage. If you navigate to our industrial equipment manufacturing cloud page that's located under our product page itself, or product drop-down menu, you'd find me there. Otherwise, it could be Nirav, or just direct email, Nirav, NIRAV.Shah, SHAH, at 2-increase.com. A few of the ways there you can get in touch with me. So.
Well, very nice. Usually Jeff coerces the people to give out their cell phone numbers and recommends to call them.
Live and learn.
Especially if you're a Bear fan, right? Hey,
yeah, right.
He likes to call on Saturday evenings.
Nice.
Steve, actually, as long as our podcast is devolving into this conversation, I feel we'd be remiss if we didn't warn our listeners about the upcoming onslaught of marketing propaganda that will be coming out of our the photo session we had last week. Nirav, you really missed out on. That's what we should start. We should find some ways to graphically include and actually maybe I meant visually include our guests in our in our promos for this. Like maybe we print out a headshot of Nirav and you and I,
he's a young, good-looking guy, so I think.
I've been called a lot of things, but not that.
it would only add to our dozens of followers, right? And
Jeff said I had a face for podcast.
There you go.
Nirav, just wait. Hopefully yours won't be the first podcast that our marketing material is attached to, because we've got some amazing pictures of nice. Steve and I goofing off in front of the camera.
That is awesome.
We still think it's for blackmail material down the road, but that's
we'll
let you know, right? They want to have some dirt on us. Not that there's enough out there, Jeff,
right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, Steve. If that is Tim's plan, he's picked the wrong two people
exactly
to not already have a lot of dirt on us out there, and that take ourselves too seriously, that we'd actually be worried about unflattering pictures.
Yeah, right. I was just gonna say, some pictures that don't make me look good are actually good in my head.
That's right. I have a Snapchat filter in my brain, and I just always look good.
Well then. Well, Nirav, we were the first time to come back for a second time, so we're excited about that. And as we grow our relationship with 2Increase, and Jeff obviously works really close because he does a lot of the demos, and we appreciate everything you do for Innovia. And as like all our podcasts, you can go to the Innovia website and they're on there under events, under podcast, and soon to be pictures from what Jeff just said. And they're also on, I think there's 6 other platforms: Podbean, Apple, all sorts of different other solutions. So we're heavily involved on LinkedIn. You can follow us at LinkedIn. And Jeff, anything else you want to add?
I think I'm good for this episode.
All right. So let the gong be gong. This podcast is over.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.